John D. Rockefeller was either praised as a visionary or condemned as a ruthless monopolist.
Businessman who amassed one of the largest fortunes in history. He controlled 90% of the oil in the country.
In the 19th century, when America was growing fast, one man rose above the rest: John D. Rockefeller. He started with almost nothing, but turned oil into an incredible source of wealth. With his company Standard Oil, he gained control over nearly the entire oil industry and became the first billionaire in the world, something no one had ever achieved before. But who was Rockefeller really? A smart businessman who saw opportunities, or a man who wanted too much power? Stay tuned, because in this video we'll uncover the story of John D. Rockefeller, the man who changed the world of money and power forever.
The most powerful of all, oil tycoon John D. Rockefeller, the world's first billionaire.
John Davidson Rockefeller was born on July 8, 1839, in Richford, New York. He grew up in a poor family with 6 siblings. His father, William Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman, charming but often unreliable and away from home. His mother, Eliza, was the opposite, strict, religious, and hardworking. She taught John to be disciplined, to save every coin, and to never waste anything. These lessons shaped him for life. When John was a boy, his family moved often, searching for better opportunities. Even as a child, he was serious, careful with money, and incredibly organized. While other kids played, John liked keeping track of numbers, making small trades, and helping his mother with the family budget. He once said, "From the beginning, I was trained to work, to save, and to give." At 16 years old, Rockefeller got his first job as a bookkeeper. He earned just 50 cents a day, but he was proud of every penny. He quickly stood out for his honesty, precision, and ambition. He began to dream of starting his own business and becoming successful through careful planning, not luck. Rockefeller wasn't flashy or loud. He was quiet, calm, and extremely focused. He believed in order, discipline, and faith. Every decision he made was thought through. His deep religious beliefs guided his actions. He saw wealth as a blessing, but also a responsibility. By his early 20s, he had already started investing in small ventures and saving enough to begin his path toward greatness. His childhood struggles and his mother's strict guidance gave him the drive to never stop working. John D. Rockefeller's path into the oil industry started in the early 1860s.
Colonel, extract oil!
But 1859 is also the year oil is discovered in Titusville,
a time when oil had just been discovered in Pennsylvania. Back then, oil was a brand new business, full of small operators trying to get rich fast. But Rockefeller saw something others didn't: order in the chaos. He believed that with careful planning and efficiency, oil could become the energy that powered the future. At that time, Rockefeller was already running a successful trading business in Cleveland, Ohio, selling grain and other goods. When he learned how valuable oil could be for making kerosene, the fuel of lamps before electricity, he decided to take a chance.
Before electricity, it was basically the source of light in America.
The refined product called kerosene quickly replaces the whale oil used in lamps, adding hours of activity to daily life, and that skyrockets the demand for oil.
In 1863, he invested in a small oil refinery, a place where crude oil was cleaned and turned into usable products. Rockefeller immediately stood out. While most businessmen rushed for quick profits, he focused on cutting costs, improving quality, and reinvesting earnings. He negotiated cheaper shipping rates with railroads, bought his own storage tanks, and used the best equipment. Every drop of oil had to count. By 1870, he founded the Standard Oil Company, along with his brother William and a few partners. From there, his empire grew fast. He bought out competitors, expanded across the country, and turned Standard Oil into the most powerful company in America.
In mid-America, twice as many drivers choose Standard over any other brand.
You can't beat Standard for convenience. They've got stations everywhere you look.
What made Rockefeller different wasn't just ambition. It was his vision. He saw that oil wasn't a short-term opportunity, but the foundation of the modern world. John D. Rockefeller didn't just make money. He made history. Through his company, Standard Oil, he built one of the most profitable businesses the world had ever seen. By the 1880s, his company controlled about 90% of all oil in the United States, and his fortune grew faster than anyone could imagine. In 1916, Rockefeller became the first billionaire in the world, a number so big at the time that people could barely understand it. If we convert his wealth into today's money, it would be worth over $400 billion, making him the richest person in modern history. But what did he do with all that money? Surprisingly, he didn't live a wild or flashy life. He believed that great wealth came with great responsibilities. After he retired, he turned most of his attention to helping others. He created the Rockefeller Foundation, which funded schools, medical research, and public health projects all over the world. He also helped build the University of Chicago, one of the best universities in America today. His donations supported the fight against diseases like malaria and yellow fever, saving millions of lives. Rockefeller once said, "God gave me my money to use for good." And he did. By the time he died in 1937, he had given away more than $500 million, an enormous amount for that time. So while he started as a poor boy counting pennies, he ended his life as both a business legend and one of the greatest philanthropists the world has ever known. Even the greatest success stories have their breaking point, and for John D. Rockefeller, the moment came when his empire became too powerful. By the late 1800s, Standard Oil was so big that it controlled almost every part of the oil business: production, refining, transport, and sales. This total control made Rockefeller one of the most powerful men in America, but it also made him one of the most hated. Small oil companies, journalists, and politicians began to fight back. They accused Rockefeller of using unfair methods, secretly lowering prices to crush competitors, making hidden deals with railroads, and buying out smaller refineries by force. In 1904, journalist Ida Tarbell published a shocking book called The History of the Standard Oil Company, exposing the company's ruthless tactics. The public turned against him. Soon the U.S. government stepped in. They argued that Standard Oil was an illegal monopoly, too big and too powerful for fair competition. After years of court battles, the Supreme Court ruled in 1911 that Standard Oil had to be broken up into 34 smaller companies.
34 different companies were created out of Standard Oil, and John D. had a piece of every one of them.
It was a massive blow to Rockefeller's empire. The company he built from nothing was torn apart by law. For the first time, it looked like his power had come to an end. John D. Rockefeller is remembered as one of the most influential figures in modern history. He wasn't just a businessman. He was a visionary who helped shape the modern economy. By building Standard Oil into a global powerhouse, he showed how efficiency, strategy, and careful planning could turn a small investment into unimaginable wealth. To this day, Rockefeller is seen in two very different ways. On one hand, he's admired as the ultimate self-made man, a poor boy who became the first billionaire in history. His life embodies the American dream: hard work, discipline, and determination. On the other hand, he's also remembered as a monopolist, someone whose power and business tactics sparked debates about fairness, ethics, and government regulation. His story helped shape antitrust laws that still influence big companies today. Even over 80 years after his death in 1937, Rockefeller's name is synonymous with wealth, influence, and ambition. He represents both the possibilities and challenges of great power. A man who built an empire from nothing, transformed an entire industry, and reshaped how the world thinks about money and responsibility. Whether you admire him for his success or criticize him for his power, one thing is clear: Rockefeller changed the world forever. His legacy lives on in companies, universities, and charitable foundations all over the globe. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss stories about the greatest entrepreneurs and visionaries. Until next time, and remember, dreaming big and acting smart can truly change everything.